They say life has a way of testing your faith right when you think you've got it all together. And sometimes it's not the calm that strengthens you, it's the storm. This is the story of Sarah, a nurse whose storm became her turning point. Sarah had always believed in God's goodness. She served at her local church, volunteered at the hospital, and was known by everyone as the woman with the warm smile and gentle words. Life seemed steady. She had plans. A promotion coming up, savings building, and dreams of traveling soon. But then life shifted. It started on an ordinary Tuesday. She arrived at work to find her department in chaos. Funding had been cut, staff positions removed, and Sarah's name was on the redundancy list. After years of giving her best, she was told with an apology and a handshake that her position was no longer needed. At first, she smiled through the shock. Maybe God's redirecting me, she told herself. But as the weeks turned into months, the silence of unanswered prayers grew heavier. The savings she once relied on slowly drained away. Bills piled up on her kitchen table, and each morning, her faith, once so strong, began to feel fragile. She tried to stay positive. She quoted scriptures, sang worship songs, and told friends she was fine. But late at night, when the lights were off and the world felt still, her tears told a different story. She whispered prayers that seemed to vanish into the ceiling. God, why me? I've served you faithfully. I've helped others. I've trusted you. Why does it feel like you've forgotten me? Days stretched into weeks. Job applications went unanswered. Doubts crept in like shadows in her heart. And the woman who once inspired others now found herself drowning in fear and exhaustion. But God was not done. One afternoon, as she scrolled through her phone, looking for job postings, a message popped up from an old church friend, an invitation to help volunteer at a community medical outreach in the outskirts of the city. It wasn't a paid role. It wasn't glamorous. But something stirred inside her, a quiet voice saying, "Go." Reluctantly, she accepted, and that single yes became the beginning of her restoration. The following weekend, she found herself surrounded by people she'd never met before. Doctors, nurses, and volunteers working together to care for those who could not afford treatment. The atmosphere was raw, real, and full of compassion. As she bandaged wounds, comforted frightened children, and prayed with weary patience, something inside her began to awaken. She felt alive again, not because she had everything back, but because she was walking in purpose. In that small makeshift clinic, Sarah rediscovered the reason she became a nurse in the first place. Not for titles, not for money, but for impact. And for the first time in months, she smiled not from habit, but from healing. On the final day of the outreach, a senior doctor approached her. "I've been watching you," he said kindly. "We're opening a new faith-based clinic soon. We need people with your heart. Would you consider joining us?" Sarah's eyes filled with tears. She didn't even know what to say. This was her miracle. The same God who allowed her storm used it to guide her back to purpose. The same wind that tore down her comfort zone cleared the path to her calling. She learned that sometimes God won't calm the storm right away, because the storm isn't sent to destroy you. It's sent to define you. It shakes everything that's unstable, so that what remains is unshakable. And for Sarah, the storm didn't just test her faith, it saved it. Because when everything else was stripped away, she found that God was all she truly needed. Words of encouragement. Maybe you've been through your own storm, a season where everything seemed to fall apart and heaven felt silent. You prayed, you cried, you waited, and nothing made sense. But hear this truth today. Sometimes God calms the storm. Other times, He lets the storm calm you. If you're in that place right now, don't lose hope. Your story isn't over. The same God who carried Sarah through the winds will carry you too. He's still working. Even when you can't see it, He's still faithful. Even when you don't feel it. And He's still writing. Even when your page looks blank. Hold on. The storm that feels unbearable today might be the very thing God uses to rebuild your strength tomorrow. You're not forgotten. You're being refined. And your faith, your precious, tested, enduring faith, will come out stronger, brighter, and unshakable.